Hi, in this session I'm going to show you how to animate a table. So in animating a table, maybe we want to have it where certain rows show up first. So in this example, we want item A to show up first, and then item B, and then item C. So I'll show you two ways to do that animation. And let's go ahead and show you the example first. So let's go ahead and click in cell 1. Let me bring this into slideshow view. So if I do one mouse click, item A rows for item A will show up first. Another click would show up item B, and then another click would show up item C. So that's the first example of how to animate a table to have some items show up first, second, and maybe third. Let me show you another way. I'm going to go into slide 2. This is also animating to have certain rows show up first, second, and third, but this is with some triggers. So let's say, for example, we want to show item A first by just clicking this particular object. And so item A would show up, we click here, and then item B, and then item C. But let's say we also want to toggle it, and we want to kind of go back and forth between having these items show up. So let's say I don't want item B to show up anymore, and I just want to show item A and C, or I just want to just show item C after I showed everything. So I'll just click item A again. Oops. I'll just go and click item A again, and then item C is the only one that shows up. So I'll show you how to create this particular animation too. So let's go out of slideshow view, press escape, and we're going to go to slide 3, which I've already populated with a table, and show the first example. So in this example, what we want to do is actually put some objects in here to cover it up, and then have those disappear in sequence. So what I'm going to do is go under the Insert tab, go under Shapes, and I'm going to select the rectangle shape, and I'm going to draw it around the first cell here, or the first row here. Let's see if we can get something close. Let's see, and that's kind of covering it a little bit. We can see there's still some lines here. So there's going to be some fine tuning. I think this is going to be 0.4, and when you do it yourself, you're going to have to probably do some fine tuning to figure out how wide and how high it should be. So I'm going to go ahead and move this. Use the Alt arrow keys on the keyboard to move it, and let's see if maybe this length needs to increase a little bit. Let's make it 6.6. Maybe a little bit longer. And go ahead and do it that way. Do it this way, and use the arrow key to use the Alt arrow key on the keyboard to bring it back. Unselect that. Let's see. That might be a little big, so let's go ahead and go into the Format tab and maybe make this a little bit smaller, 6.7 maybe. So that looks okay, and let's make this a lighter color. So when I select that, I'll go ahead and right click, and it brings up a smaller menu here. The shape outline, I'm not going to have any outline. And for the shape fill, let's make that white, because the white will match these grid lines. So I'm going to go ahead and select white for the shape fill. Let's deselect that. It looks like it's filled it out a little bit. So that's going to be item A. So I'm going to go and select that, press Ctrl D to make a duplicate copy, and bring it over item A here. Let's see how that looks. Let me go ahead and use the Alt arrow key on the keyboard to fine tune the movement there. That looks okay. Let me go ahead and just make another copy, Ctrl D, and I'm just going to bring it down here, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to group these two because it's going to be item A. So let me go and select that, press the Control key, select this, left mouse click, and then right mouse click to group that. So now those two are grouped. So I'm going to go ahead and also make a duplicate, Control D, and just bring it over to item B here. Let's see, and maybe this needs some fine tuning. Use the Alt key and the arrow key together on the keyboard to see if we can fine tune the movement there, and look, the gray has disappeared there. So that's going to be B. B doesn't need to be grouped because there's only one row of B. So for C, I need to make two of these, or in this case, what I can also have done is just make one of them and make a larger rectangle. So that's probably the better bet. But for the other one, since they were separated from each other, I couldn't do that. But for C, since they were on top of each other or they're next to each other, right next to each other, that was fine. So let's see. Now I've got that. So now with these objects covering it, what I want to do is animate it to have it disappear. So I'm going to select A. So that's going to be the first one. If you don't know what it is, actually what you can do is you can go under the home key, go under the select, under editing, go under select, and go to the selection pane. So it's going to show you which objects do you have on there. So if table 1 is this whole table, rectangle 33, you can see it's down here, that's going to be C. So I can actually give it names if I wanted to. If I can say this is item C, and rectangle 2, that's that one solo item here, I'm going to call it item B, and then this group, which is those two rectangles that are separated from item B, that's going to be item A. So I'm going to call this item A. So this is the selection visibility pane. It's kind of, if you've got a lot of objects here, this particular pane makes it easier to navigate them instead of trying to click through them on the slide itself. So with that, now what we're going to do is go under animations, and let's say for item A, that's going to be the first one. It's selected, and I want to add I can even go under the animation group here and go and select it, but I actually like to go to the advanced animation grouping and just add it here. So I'm going to have it fade out, disappear. So that's going to be item A first. Now go ahead and select item B and add an animation there. Also do the same, have it fade, and then do the same for C. And go under add animation and have that fade. Alright, so now there's going to be 3 animations you can see here. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the slideshow view and click once, item A shows up, click another time, item B, and then click another time, item C shows up. So that is how we do the animation for the table in the first example. Now the second example, where we have this, is going to be a little bit more complex. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this table, so that table selected, I'm going to do Control C to copy it, go under this blank slide here and go under Home and click in the clipboard grouping, go under Paste, Paste Special. I want to paste it as a meta file. So you can either choose Picture Enhanced Meta File or Windows Meta File. Either one's fine. I'm just going to select the first one here and click OK. And what it does is it puts a picture here, a meta file picture here, and what I need to do is ungroup it. So this is still selected. I'm going to right click it and I'm going to go ahead and select ungroup. So what it's going to do is give you kind of this error message saying this is a picture, not a group. Do you want to convert it into a office drawing object? Go ahead and click yes. And what it's going to do, it's going to turn each individual one of these cells and the text and the whole table into different objects. So you can see the whole list of objects here. So if I click outside of here and I click back in, or actually it's still grouped, so let me go ahead and click this and ungroup it again. So it ungrouped as a picture, but it's got all the groupings together. So let me go ahead and ungroup it again, and now you can see it has selected all the individual objects in here. So let me go ahead and click outside. What I want to do now is start grouping them into the records that I want, item A, and then item B and item C. So what I'm going to do is press Control, select item A, select the other things that are going to be associated with item A. So I'm going to select that, the sales for that first item A, and then the second item A, and then East, and then sales here. And then right click and then group that. That's going to be one grouping. And you see now it has, in the selection visibility pane, it has grouped those rectangles together. I'm going to call this also item A. So this is going to be item A. Right? So I want to do the same for item E. Go ahead and Control and then select that. So it lets you multi-select and then right click and then group that. Oops, didn't work there. So let me go ahead and do it again. Control and then left click, and then right click and then group. And now you can see it's grouped B. It's given it a different, very generic name, but I'm just going to rename that and call it item B. And then the same for item C. So let's go ahead and select that. Select, Control select, so it lets you multi-select, and then group that. And we'll call this grouping. Put that together and we'll call this item C. So now it's, oops, look what it did here. I don't know why I did that. So let me go ahead and Control Z to undo that. Control C twice. Let's try it again. Okay, Control select. Oops. Control select to group all of item C together. Let's see, did it work? Yes. And now we'll call this item C. Alright. So now I've grouped them together. I've got item A, B, and C, and you can actually reorder these, so I'm going to go ahead and I like to kind of reorder them. Item C at the bottom. Let me move that down. So we had A, B, and C. So to get these circles, I basically just need to go ahead and insert a circle. So I'll go to Insert tab under Illustrations group, and let's go ahead and choose the oval icon. And with the oval icon, we can just, if we want to create a perfect circle, otherwise you wouldn't if you just used the left mouse key and drew it in. You have to press the Shift key, and it's going to go ahead and draw a perfect circle there. So let's draw that, and then I'm just going to label that. And see how it's given it a generic name here? I'm just going to call this first one item A. So I'll just click in there and start typing item A. Alright, so item A, and then I can select that, press Control D to duplicate that, and then that's going to be item B, and then Control D and make item C. Let's kind of center that. So let's call this oops, let's call this item B, and this one is item C. Okay, now what we need to do now is actually start to put the animation together. So let's go ahead and select item A first, and with item A we're going to go, that's selected, we're going to go and click Animation, Add Animation, and we're going to, let's bring up the animation pane first. So I'm going to bring up the animation pane. This is going to bring up a separate pane so you can start to see the animations listed out here. So I have item A selected here. Let me go ahead and click Add Animation. I want to have that enter. I want to create one for enter and also create an animation to exit. Alright, so now I've got two animations. So what it's going to do is, like when you click here, this is going to be a click trigger. It'll trigger having this one created, having this enter or exit. So let's give names for each of these ovals. So if I select that, that's C. So let's go ahead and give that, we'll call this trigger C. Let's see, which one is oval 56? 56 is this one. We'll call this trigger A. And then oval 2071, it selects that, so we'll call that trigger B. And I like to order this, so I'm going to go ahead and reorder that and make that the third one. So we have item A, and item B. We've created two animations. So here, what we need to do is we want to select that and link that to a trigger. So when we click trigger A, what it's going to do, it's going to make it fade. This is going to make it the entrance fade, so it's going to go in, and so we're going to select that and also give it the same trigger and have trigger A. So once you click that, when you click it once, it will either fade in, click it again, it'll fade out, or vice versa. So you can see that there are two trigger points. This bolt indicates that it's going to be triggered on something, and the animation is going to be done. So I'm going to do the same for B and C. So let's go ahead and select item B here, and also add an animation. Let's do a fade, and then let's also do an entrance fade and an exit fade. So now we have an entrance fade and an exit fade, and I need to also link this to a trigger. So I'm going to link this to, of course, trigger B, and also link this particular one to trigger B. And then I got to do the same for item C. So the grouping item C, do the same thing. Add a fade, add an entrance fade, add an exit fade, and then link them to a trigger. So on mouse click, go to trigger C, and then on the second one, the exit fade, go to trigger C. Alright, so now it has an animation. The animation is linked to this object. It's going to trigger the animations. So let me go ahead and play this. So let me go ahead and play this. Let's see. So click on item A shows up. Click on item B shows up, and click on item C and it shows up. And if I click it again, that disappears, item B disappears, and item A disappears. So let me go ahead and escape out of the slideshow view. I'm going to go ahead and close these panes. So after that, that's the animation, and then the rest of it was just kind of formatting. So if you wanted to get these nice little bevel shapes, you can just click on the icon here and go under, I believe it's under Home, and under the drawing, Quick Styles. Microsoft PowerPoint 2010 has these nice little quick styles. The blue, I like that blue, and let's go ahead and make that one. Maybe that was green, right? Or yeah, that was green, and then this one is orange. And so if I go back into the slideshow view, I can go ahead and click on the objects, and A shows up, B shows up, C shows up. If I don't want B, I'll click B again, and that disappears. So those are, let me go ahead and escape. So those are the two examples of how you can animate a table. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching.